Chosen ones, have you ever wondered why people are drawn to you, yet keep their distance? Why they can see your worth but refuse to fully invest in you? You carry an energy that radiates love in a way that feels boundless, but this love is not soft or easily contained. It's a fierce, undeniable current that sweeps through others, leaving them both mesmerized and unsettled. They feel the force of your presence, the way you make them feel seen down to their very core, but they also sense the depth of your independence. You are both the storm and the stillness after it, and this duality leaves them in a state of awe and fear. They know that to be close to you means to be vulnerable, and vulnerability terrifies them. Your love isn't a fleeting warmth, it's an all-consuming fire that exposes everything, the flaws they hide and the truths they dare not speak, and so they teeter on the edge, wanting to bask in your light but recoiling from the intensity of it. They crave your energy, but they fear the cost, because you don't just give. You demand reciprocity without ever saying a word. You ask for nothing, yet your very presence commands everything. You don't chase after connections or beg for validation, and that frightens them. They sense that you can walk away without a backward glance, that you can love fully and still let go without being consumed by attachment. And this, more than anything, unsettles them. They've never met anyone who can love so deeply and yet remain untouched by the need to cling. People are drawn to your power, to the gravitational pull you exert just by existing. They want to be in your orbit, but they know, instinctively, that to remain there requires more than most are willing to give. They would rather take from you your light, your love, your energy, without the sacrifice. But you are not someone who can be kept halfway. You are a force of nature, and to be with you means to step into the storm, knowing that it will change them forever. You are a mirror that reflects the deepest insecurities of those around you, and that reflection is something they cannot bear to face. When people pull away from you, it's not because they don't see your worth. They do, more clearly than they'd ever admit. It terrifies them. They sense your strength, your ability to stand whole without seeking validation, and that stirs something uncomfortable within them. Your presence alone challenges the fragile walls they've built around their vulnerabilities. Their avoidance is not a reflection of your value, but a desperate attempt to hide from their own inadequacies. They know that giving their all to you would mean stepping into a truth they aren't prepared to confront. You provoke an unspoken fear in them, the fear that in your light, their own shadows will be exposed. They wear masks of indifference, trying to convince themselves and others that they are self-sufficient. But their coldness is a shield, not against you, but against the glaring truth that they rely heavily on external validation. When they project their emotional distance, they're really building walls to keep themselves safe from the vulnerability your presence demands. To see you is to see the kind of completeness they can't muster within themselves. They pretend to be strong, yet every time they feel your energy, it reveals how fragile their facade truly is. They fear that embracing your presence would strip away their defenses and expose them as dependent on the very approval they claim not to need. Your power, your self-contained nature, makes them question the shaky foundation of their own self-worth. It's easier for them to retreat, to avoid giving fully, than to risk being undone by your clarity. They would rather live in the illusion of their strength than confront the reality that you, simply by being yourself, force them to confront the gaps in their armor. You, chosen one, demand a kind of honesty most are not prepared to face. You are a force of undeniable magnetism, and people can't help but feel drawn into your orbit. But the very thing that makes them seek your presence also terrifies them. They sense with unsettling clarity that while you give love deeply and fully, you are not bound by attachment. You have a power that many lack, the ability to let go, to sever ties without being consumed by loss. This frightens them to their core, because they know that while they may cling, you will not. Their fear of your detachment creates a dynamic of manipulation and control. They want to keep you close, but not too close, afraid that if they give themselves over completely, they'll be left vulnerable, standing in the wake of your absence. They withhold affection, rationing their emotional investment like a currency they hope will buy them protection from the heartache they anticipate. They construct barriers, trying to keep you at a distance that feels safe, even while craving your energy. It's not that they don't want to love you, or that they don't feel the pull of your presence. It's the knowledge that you could walk away without looking back that creates this tension. They see in you a kind of freedom that feels dangerous, a freedom they don't possess and don't understand. You, chosen one, are not shackled by the fear of abandonment. You are not tethered to anyone's approval or validation. This independence, this ability to love without being bound, makes them both desperate for your attention and terrified of losing it. So they play games. They create emotional distance, hoping to protect themselves from the inevitable day they fear you'll decide to leave. They hold back, trying to keep you wanting more, thinking this will give them power. But it's a futile effort. They know deep down that no amount of withholding will change the fact that you, unlike them, are not dependent on their affection. You love fiercely, but you are not afraid to let go. And that, above all, is what scares them. You are a catalyst, a force that others sense will alter their course. When people encounter you, they feel something shift within themselves, an untapped potential rising to the surface. You awaken a spark in them, a sense that being near you will bring transformation, a growth they cannot reach alone. They know, consciously or not, that you carry the kind of energy that elevates those who cross your path. But this elevation comes with a cost they aren't prepared to face. They are drawn to you because they feel that proximity to your energy will unlock doors in their lives, opening possibilities they had only dreamed of. And often, it does. After being in your presence, they find success, clarity, or emotional breakthroughs, but there's a painful irony. While you ignite change in them, they cannot hold on to you. They see you as the key to their growth, yet they are haunted by the knowledge that you will not remain by their side. You don't stay to bask in their transformation because you are not tied to the outcome. Your role is not to cling but to move forward, to continue on your path unattached. Their fear of losing you, of experiencing your detachment, leaves them paralyzed. They want the gifts you bring, but they fear the moment you'll walk away, leaving them with a life that's better, yet missing your presence. They know you can love them deeply and still let go without hesitation. This truth is what terrifies them the most, that they may become better after knowing you, yet they will not be able to hold on to you. They long to hold on to the magic you bring, but know that you, chosen one, are not theirs to keep. And so they linger, caught between wanting the transformation you offer and fearing the day when you will inevitably walk away. They're drawn to you, not just for who you are, but for what your energy can do for them. In the Obsidian Inner Order, powered by Astral Atom, we teach you how to harness that energy, how to move with power while others try to cling to your light. Over 350 chosen ones have already stepped up, and you're being called to do the same. And here's the kicker. Chapter 3 of Modern Manifestation Mechanics is now available. This is where we teach you literal magic, not metaphorical, not symbolic. Real ancient practices that are too raw, too unfiltered for YouTube. You light the way for others, but you know you're not here to stay. That's the truth we dive into with our uncensored video content, reserved exclusively for our Inner Order members. The third chapter of Modern Manifestation Mechanics takes you beyond manifestation. It brings you into the realm of magical transformation, guiding you through techniques kept hidden for centuries. They know you're not theirs to keep, and they fear the day you walk away, leaving them with the spark you gave them. But you're here to rise, to ascend. Join the Obsidian Inner Order now. Link to Patreon is in the description. There are only a few slots left in the Elite Star Chamber. This is your chance to unlock the true power you've been waiting for. You carry a radiance that cannot be hidden, yet others will try to obscure it. They know, even if they refuse to say it, that your presence is something rare, something they could never fully match. And this knowledge ignites a fear within them, a fear of their own inadequacies, a fear that they will be outshone by your brilliance. To protect their fragile egos, they resort to manipulation, feeding you breadcrumbs of attention, just enough to keep you around, but never enough to nourish your soul. They see your value, but they pretend not to. They mask their admiration with indifference, downplaying your light in an attempt to make themselves feel larger in your presence. They withhold genuine affection, offering small gestures of care only when they sense you pulling away. It's a calculated effort, a strategy of control. By giving just enough to keep you tethered, they maintain the upper hand, ensuring that they never have to confront the inadequacies your brilliance highlights in them. Their emotional breadcrumbs are designed to make you question your own worth, to make you believe that what you offer is not extraordinary, when in fact it is everything they know they lack. They hope that by dimming your light, they can maintain their position of superiority. But the truth is, they are not protecting themselves from you. They are shielding themselves from the glaring reality of their own insecurities. You, chosen one, are not unaware of this game. You sense the undercurrent of manipulation, the way they try to keep you small, to keep you questioning, yet you continue to rise. Their breadcrumbs may serve to momentarily delay your flight, but they cannot contain the force of your ascent. They know they don't measure up, so they hold back, hoping that by keeping you within arm's reach, they won't have to face the truth that you are beyond their grasp. You have faced the sting of rejection more times than most, but each instance has sharpened your understanding of your own worth. You have stood in the aftermath of betrayal, watching as those who could not handle your power attempt to diminish you. They feared your light, and in their fear they pulled away, leaving you to grapple with the pain of their detachment. But in that space, you found clarity. Each rejection was a mirror, reflecting not your inadequacy, but their inability to embrace something greater than themselves. These experiences have not broken you, they have fortified you. You've had to rise above the manipulations of those who, terrified by your power, sought to control it. They wanted your light but feared being burned by it, so they chose to retreat. In their fear they abandoned you, but in that abandonment, you discovered a resilience that few possess. You learned that your worth was never contingent upon their acceptance, and you refused to let their insecurity define your identity. Through these betrayals, you've mastered the art of balance, loving deeply, yet knowing when to detach. You can give yourself fully, but you are never tethered. This ability to pour yourself into others without losing your sense of self leaves many unsettled. They are not used to such autonomy, to such strength. They expect love to bind and control, but you are not bound. You love fiercely, yet you walk away when necessary, unscathed by their absence. This mastery of detachment is your power, and they feel it. They fear it. It forces them to confront their own lack of independence, their reliance on external validation. They want to hold on to you, but they know that you will not be held by anything or anyone who does not meet your level of authenticity. You've earned your freedom through fire, and that chosen one is a power that cannot be undone. When people come into your orbit, they feel something stir within them, an energy that pushes them to rise, to reach heights they hadn't thought possible. Your presence acts like a surge of power, igniting their potential, and in that moment, they begin to see themselves as more than they once were. They believe they have become the prize, elevated by the sheer force of being near you. They relish in the feeling that they are somehow greater, simply because you acknowledge their worth. But beneath that newfound confidence lies a gnawing fear. They sense your emotional independence, an unshakable strength that makes them uneasy. They know, without a shadow of doubt, that while they may revel in the spotlight of your attention, you are not anchored by it. Your love, though profound, does not bind you to anyone. You do not cling, you do not need, and that terrifies them. They try to convince themselves they are indispensable, that once you've given your heart, it cannot be easily reclaimed. Yet they see the truth, buried deep in your eyes. The truth that you could let them go without a second thought, should the time come. They fear the day when your gaze, which once uplifted them, will simply turn away, unburdened by attachment. They know you will not hesitate to walk away, not out of coldness, but out of a fierce understanding of your own worth. This is what unsettles them most, that you are not afraid of leaving them behind. They recognize that while they may view themselves as the prize, you are the one who gives meaning to the connection, and you are just as willing to release it as you were to create it. Your power lies not just in the ability to love deeply, but in your capacity to detach with ease. This balance of passion and independence makes you a force they cannot control, and it leaves them grasping for something that was never theirs to hold. You have walked through fire, and each step has been a lesson in discovering your own worth. The path has been marked by rejection, not because you lacked value, but because others could not grasp the magnitude of what it means to stand beside someone like you. Each betrayal, each moment of being cast aside, has forced you to look inward, to recognize the power and brilliance you carry, without relying on external validation. You were never meant to fit into the narrow spaces they tried to confine you to. Those who cross your path are often captivated by your energy, yet they hold back, unwilling or unable to give fully. They fear the truth, that they are not equipped to stand as your equal. They feel the weight of their inadequacies in your presence, and instead of rising to meet you, they retreat. It's not your love or your worth that pushes them away. It's their fear of being exposed for what they lack. To invest in you fully would mean confronting the shadows within themselves, and many are not ready for that reckoning. This cycle of rejection has not diminished you, it has strengthened you. With each person who walked away, you've been forced to confront the raw, undeniable truth that your worth is not tied to their inability to stay. They are not capable of holding the fullness of what you offer because it demands a kind of courage they do not possess. They know that standing beside you requires more than they are willing to give, and so they withhold, not because you are unworthy, but because they fear being unmasked by your light. Through this, you have learned to see yourself clearly. You no longer seek approval or validation from those too afraid to meet you as an equal. You understand that their inability to invest fully is a reflection of their own limitations, not yours. You, chosen one, have claimed your power through the very rejections meant to diminish it. You have achieved a mastery that few dare to confront, the art of detachment. You embody both the fierce capacity to give love fully and the unshakable power to withdraw it when needed. This balance of profound connection and absolute self-sovereignty is a force that leaves people unsteady, unsure of how to handle the storm and stillness within you. They sense your ability to love without losing yourself, to give without surrendering control, and it unnerves them. Your mastery is rooted in clarity. You see through people in ways they cannot hide. You look beyond their facades, past the masks they wear to protect their fragile egos, and it terrifies them. They know that in your presence, the illusions they cling to cannot stand. You see the flaws they desperately hope no one will notice, the gaps in their armor, and the cracks in their carefully constructed personas. This vision is not one of judgment, but of truth. And truth is something most are not prepared to face. It's easier for them to retreat, to shield themselves from the piercing gaze of someone who cannot be deceived by surface-level charm or empty promises. They fear you because you are not controlled by attachment. Your love, while deep and transformative, does not bind you. You are not swayed by manipulation or emotional games, and that is something most cannot comprehend. To them, love is often synonymous with dependency, a give and take that holds both parties in place. But you, chosen one, are different. You can give your heart and take it back in the same breath if the situation requires it. You are not afraid to walk away, to leave behind what no longer serves you. And this power unsettles those who seek control through emotional entanglement. People sense that they cannot hold you hostage with their approval, their affection, or their presence. They know that if they falter, if they fail to meet the standard of authenticity and integrity you demand, you will not hesitate to release them. This isn't cruelty, it is mastery. You understand that your worth is not tied to anyone else's ability to appreciate it. You have become the master of your own heart, and that makes you untouchable in a world where most are chained by their need for external validation. Your ability to love and let go in equal measure is the very thing that makes you both feared and revered. Chosen ones, this is the undeniable reality of your existence. You are a force capable of both extraordinary love and unwavering detachment. Your power lies not only in how deeply you care, but in the profound strength it takes to walk away when necessary. Every rejection, every betrayal, every moment where others fail to invest fully in you has sharpened this ability. You are not bound by the limitations of those who fear your light. Instead, you rise above, knowing when to give and when to reclaim your energy. Your journey has not been for nothing. Each trial has shaped you into someone capable of withstanding both the vulnerability of love and the clarity of release. You are not meant to settle for those who cannot match your energy. You are destined to connect with those who are just as strong, just as unafraid to stand in the fullness of their power. Your capacity to detach, to move on without losing yourself, is part of what makes you formidable. Embrace your strength without hesitation or apology. You are more than capable of balancing love and detachment because both are necessary in your growth. Now, it's time to claim your truth and live it unapologetically. Share your story, chosen one. Let others see the path you've walked and the wisdom you've gained. Your experience is not just yours. It is a testament to the power of knowing your worth.